Do you like revenge stories? Do you like hearing about abusers getting what they've been giving for years? I do. Rebecca is just the latest little girl to be tied up in the basement. Still, he needs Dollface, a lifelike dolly of a little girl, probably 3, to actually get off. Dollface has witnessed all the abuse he has perpetrated on small female bodies over the years. And when Rebecca's tear falls onto Dolly's face, she begins to feel different. Hi, I'm Elizabeth. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm really glad you're here because I'm going to tease you a series of books by RJ Powell called the Dollhouse Series. There is no way for me to tell you this whole story with all of its details because it is just too depraved. I couldn't even figure out what words to use to describe what actually happens. So I'm just going to give you a brief overview so that if you're interested, you can check it out yourself. So again, RJ Powell is the writer. It's the Dollhouse series. It has 3 little novellas, Dollface, Puppet, and Dolly and Pip. Okay. So this is the story of a dolly that takes revenge into her own little hands. When she starts to move and she starts to think, and then her hair becomes bouncy like a real girl's hair and not just fake doll hair, she unties Rebecca, asks for help getting some tools Dolly would like to use on the gross, large, abusive man she's been living with for years. And so she does. She and Rebecca get to work. They abuse him in ways I simply cannot tell you about on YouTube. At the end, when the man is finally extinguished, thank God, Dolly sinks back into herself and becomes a dolly again. In the second story, Puppet, Charlie is always the last child to be picked up from daycare, and Miss Teacher uses him for her own pleasure and sadism. One day, when she sends him to go get something from the playroom, he sees Puppet. He cries a tear onto him. Next thing Charlie knows, he's no longer the only kid at daycare. He's got a friend, Pip, and Pip wants to hurt Miss Teacher. And Pip has some very creative and upsetting ideas on how to do that. He gets to work with Charlie's help, and soon Mrs. Teacher is begging for death. Finally, when it's all over, Pip returns to puppet status. At the end of each of these stories, the kids are found with their favorite toy and, there's a corpse, and then they're taken to a place for murderous children. Dolly and Pip is the story of Rebecca and Charlie at that place where children that are no good and get stuck. So they can be abused and hurt without anybody caring in the least. Pip and Dolly wake up after they realize the kids are in danger again. And this time they work together to hurt the doctor that's been torturing children. I can't tell you any of the details of what they do to these grown, abusive, horrible people. The details are grotesquely horrifying. It was one of those books that as I was reading, I would drop my jaw would drop and people would be like, "Are you okay?" Oh, I'm just reading a book that's... And I saw, actually, I think it was last night, I saw that there's actually a prequel that's about the creation of Dolly. So I'm definitely going to have to check that out. But in the meantime, I highly suggest you give this one. These are not long reads. I'd say each one of them is really more like a short story. They're definitely something you can read in one sitting. You just need to be prepared for severe revenge abuse, which I don't know what it says about me, but I greatly enjoy reading about revenge when things have been done, especially to a child. If the person who has hurt a child can be hurt in response to that, I've always really liked those kinds of stories. And what was also nice about these, about Powell's books, is that she doesn't make you suffer through too much of the abuse of the child. She gives you sort of an idea of what they've had to go through, but she doesn't spend an inordinate amount of time on it. So you have a very, you have a very clear sense of what the children have been through, but you don't have to like suffer through so much of the explanation of it. Instead, what you really spend the time learning about is the terrible things that are done to the abusive adults. Anyway, if you're into Dark and Depraved, you probably really, really like it. So give it a try, and I'll catch you next time. Don't forget, you are precious and important. You are the only you're gonna get. Remember that tomorrow needs you. Tomorrow will always need you.